All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel. We're just going to do a few quick things on the back end first, and we're going to make sure everything is working the way it is supposed to be before we start. Next thing we need to do is bring our video in and make sure we can get the sound from there. Give me a second while we do that. That's not quite what I meant to do. Okay, I shared the wrong screen, so we're going to stop that. And we're going to go to where I wanted us to go, and then we're going to expand this a bit so we can full screen it. And that way no one has to deal with it. Let's make sure we have sound on it. Give me a few seconds. All right. And we don't have sound. All right, we'll fix that in just a second. Now let's make sure we fix it properly. I know these tech checks are boring, but they're important. Ah, that's why that didn't work. There we go. All right. Let us begin. Or let us not begin. Let us make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
To offer a thorough context and background for those unfamiliar with the
going. And give me a second while I listen to it on the other end.
To offer a thorough.
All right, it looks like we are good. With that being said, welcome to my stream. This was supposed to be Faulty Logic Friday's stream, but I have been rather busy working on my college classes and with work because my job changed slightly and I have a lot more responsibilities now. Also, as much as I hate to say it, there were a lot of things going on that were just draining in the real world, and I just needed some time to recover. Now let us forget about all the things that are going on that are causing chaos for a while, and let us look at Eric Dubay. For those of you who are wondering who I am the Mad Computer Scientist. This is my channel where I discuss math, computer science, and technology topics that are of interest to me, or at least I would very much like to if I had more time. Right now, I do not. So what you're getting are live streams that are tangentially related, and these live streams are where we do something a little bit different, where we try to find faulty logic in certain various YouTube channels. Now, I was tempted to go over a lot of the executive orders, but let's face it, we're all sick of politics right now. So instead, I saw Eric Dubay, known flat earther, misunderstand artificial intelligence in a really funny and irritating way, at least for me. And he's going to tell us about the Big Bang and how AI disproves it. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you subscribe, be sure to ring that notification bell. And make sure, if you find the content useful, to leave a comment and share it out to anyone who might enjoy it. With that being said, let's get into the video.
To offer a thorough context and background.
All right, let us go back a little bit and start from the beginning.
To offer a thorough context and background for those unfamiliar with the current scientific explanation of the universe's origin, specifically the Big Bang Theory, which describes the emergence of space, time, and all matter, let us examine this official naturalistic explanation presented by an unbiased AI chatbot. The Big Bang Theory.
And we already see that Eric Dubay doesn't understand that AI chatbots, yes, technically they are unbiased, but he doesn't understand that the bias of the prompt the user puts into them does affect their outputs. Not to mention there's also problems with biased training data, which can affect the output of the AI program. Now, Eric Dubay is not known as an intellectual giant, to put it mildly. And for those of you who think I'm going to go into debunking flat Earth content, I'm just not interested in doing that. Now, admittedly, there is a lot of bad math in the flat Earth movement that could be covered, but there are plenty of people doing that already, and even I can't take flat Earth seriously. I think not even flat Earthers take flat Earthers seriously. I think most of them know it's a grift.
Theory is the prevailing scientific explanation for the origin of the universe. According to this theory, the universe began as a singularity, a point of infinite density and temperature, approximately 13.8 billion years ago. At that moment,
Well, actually, maybe not. The thing is, the best thing we can say about what existed before our current instantiation of space-time is that we don't know what was there. Scientists are working on this, at least the ones concerned with cosmology, but they're not going to say the universe started with a singularity necessarily, and indeed that idea has fallen out of favor.
the universe rapidly expanded, undergoing a process known as cosmic inflation. This allegedly led to the formation of space, time, and all matter and energy in the universe today. Question.
It's a good thing we have absolutely no evidence of it doing this, like, I don't know, maybe the cosmic microwave background radiation? But then again, you should ask a physicist, not a computer scientist, this information.
In a courtroom hearing scenario that aims to scrutinize the credibility and plausibility of the Big Bang Theory, I seek an unbiased evaluation of each claim presented.
And here we have a very interesting straw man on Eric Dubay's part. With the thinking T-Rex meme, which honestly was out of date by the time Eric Dubay used it, and it's even more out of date now. But the thing is, no one says nothing caused the Big Bang explosion. What they say, Mr. Dubay, is we don't know. Please learn the difference. And let us continue.
Above, assessing each claim to determine its nature, whether it involves speculation, conjecture, inference, or if its assertions are founded on undeniable evidence to support them beyond being merely theoretical. To evaluate these official scientific accounts previously outlined, please answer the following questions. 1. How did science determine that the singularity was infinitely dense and of infinite temperature? Answer. The determination of the singularity's infinite density and temperature is based on theoretical models and mathematical calculations within the framework of general relativity. According to these theoretical models, as we trace the expansion of the universe backward in time, it reaches a point of extreme density and temperature, which is termed the singularity.
Okay, well, listen, Eric, I'm going to do something you need to learn how to do, which is admit the limits of your own knowledge and where your ignorance begins. Now, the problem with all of us is we don't really know where those are. And someone who is far more knowledgeable can point out where we are wrong. But the reason it's called a singularity is, to the best of my knowledge, is for the same reason it's called a singularity in math. It's you're either have a function that is undefined at a point, or a function starts to take on an infinite value. Those are called singularities in math as well. And as far as I understand it, the reason it got that name in physics is because the math leads to a singularity. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about that in the comments section, and I know anyone well-versed in physics will.
However, it is important to note that the concept of infinite density and temperature arises from the limitations of our current understanding of physics. The singularity represents a breakdown in our ability to describe the universe accurately using our current scientific theories. 2.
So how exactly does that disprove anything there? It just means there's a limit to our knowledge because the math tells us this can't work this way anymore. It means we need some other way of describing it at that point. And this isn't the first thing in physics like this, because quite honestly, one of the things that is a big mystery in physics is whether or not the quantum theories can be unified with the gravity theories.
What is the basis for measuring the accuracy of this infinite density?
What? I'm sorry, but that's almost Terrence Howard level of meaninglessness. I'm not sure how you're going to accurately measure infinite density. I'm not sure how you can measure infinite anything.
Answer. Since the singularity represents a point where our current understanding of physics breaks down, it is not possible to measure its density directly. At such extreme conditions, the known laws of physics cease to be applicable, and our ability to make precise measurements becomes limited. The concept of infinite density arises from the mathematical extrapolation of our current physical theories to these extreme conditions. 3.
And how is this proving your point? It's just saying, hey, we reach a point where we can't use general relativity to describe this. And we knew this long before AI, Eric. I'm not sure you are proving what you think you're proving. I'd also like to point out that you can't actually prove things in physics. You can in math, you can in computer science, especially theoretical computer science, but physics as a hard science doesn't have that type of proof.
Science arrive at the figure of a 13.8 billion year origin for this singularity? Answer. The estimate of a 13.8 billion year origin for the singularity is derived from observations of the cosmic microwave.
I don't even think this is the only correct way to do this, because I am thinking the Hubble constant came into existence before this, but I'm not entirely sure. And the Hubble constant will give us a rough estimation for the age of the universe.
Microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the early universe. By studying the properties of this radiation, such as its distribution and temperature, scientists can infer conditions of the early universe. The age of the universe is estimated by extrapolating the observed expansion of the universe backward in time.
A very reasonable thing to do. I wonder how Eric is going to butcher this.
4. How is the term cosmic inflation derived and substantiated? Answer. The term cosmic inflation was proposed as a mechanism to explain certain observed features of the universe, such as its overall uniformity on large scales. Inflation suggests that the universe underwent a rapid expansion phase in its early moments, which smoothed out irregularities and set the stage for the subsequent formation of large-scale structures like galaxies and...
Hey, Eric, we're not really interested in you reading your AI prompt responses.
clusters. While inflation is supported by indirect evidence, such as observations of the cosmic microwave background radiation and the distribution of galaxies, it is considered a theoretical framework that explains various observed phenomena. 5. Can you provide details on how this expansive force led to the formation of space, time, matter, and energy in the universe, serving as the starting point?
And you know, if I really want a deep dive into physics or any other scientific topic I don't understand, I'll always make sure I begin and end my exploration with ChatGPT or Wikipedia.
For this theory? Answer. The specific details of how the expansive force of cosmic inflation led to the formation of space, time, matter, and energy are still the subject of active scientific investigation and theoretical modeling. According to the prevailing theory, inflation caused a rapid expansion of space, stretching it to a larger scale. During this expansion, quantum fluctuations in the fabric of space were magnified to macroscopic scales, which eventually led to the formation of density variations. These density variations served as seeds for the gravitational attraction that eventually led to the formation of large-scale structures such as galaxies and galaxy clusters. As the universe expanded,
I am so glad you have decided to ask reasonable questions up to this point. And I guess you're leading up to something, but you haven't proven your point in any way at all here, nor have you done anything to support your point. Eric, these are just things that might come from any physicist trying to explain how this came about to people who never studied cosmology. And I know you're one of them. And the most I've done is read A Brief History of Time and A Briefer History of Time, which issued some corrections to the earlier book. It's fascinating, I think, but reading a popular book on science doesn't make me an expert, and ChatGPT isn't an expert either. It's a large language model. Learn the difference.
And cooled further, matter and energy condensed and underwent processes such as nuclear fusion within stars, leading to the formation of atoms and the subsequent emergence of galaxies, stars, and other cosmic structures. It's important to note that our understanding of the detailed processes involved in the formation of space, time, matter, and energy is continuously evolving. Ongoing research, observations, and theoretical advancements contribute to refining our knowledge and providing a more comprehensive understanding of the early universe.
All right, I think I understand what's going on here. Eric doesn't know what a theory is and is confusing the colloquial definition with the scientific definition. And while we are here, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone listening who hasn't done so already to like, comment, and subscribe.
So it can be summarized that the Big Bang Theory relies heavily on indirect observation, interpretation, inference.
I don't know how you got anything other than indirect evidence out of that. But Eric, I know this eludes you, but do you know what indirect evidence is still? It's still evidence. Obviously, there are a lot of things we can prove via indirect evidence. And I know this may surprise you, Eric, but in math there's a thing called an indirect proof. And let me double check that, although I have a cat right here who wants my attention, who's making things difficult. All right, so let me double check that and let me mute my key seconds.
And theoretical models. This reliance introduces numerous uncertainties at every turn, from the theory's inception to its current status as the most widely accepted scientific explanation for the
Okay, well, my cat has very definite ideas about what I should be doing right now, and one of those things is apparently not streaming. Let me take her up. There you go, Athena. All right, so Eric Dubay still doesn't understand what a theory is. He's just relying on his audience's ignorance as well. So, yes, he continues to be one of the, let's say, less intelligent people alive. I also love how he's bringing up a scripture that doesn't exist. And at most, I can say he's misquoting Douglas Adams here, where Douglas Adams begins with, "In the beginning, the universe was created," which made a lot of people angry and has since then been widely regarded as a bad move. Eric, you would be a lot better if you were as funny as Douglas Adams, instead of being a sad, pathetic grifter.
origins of space, time, and matter. If you have not yet considered it, it is important to recognize the significant challenges faced by the Big Bang Theory.
You mean there are none? There aren't challenges faced by the Big Bang Theory. Scientists not knowing how everything works is absolutely normal. You not knowing how things work is also absolutely normal, but the difference between you and a scientist, Eric, is scientists investigate the things they don't know and don't start with their conclusion.
From its inception. This theory seeks to trace the mysteries of the universe back 13.8 billion years to determine its origins, a monumental task given the involvement of boundless pressure, temperature, energy, matter, and inconceivable forces. To accurately place our trust in this theory,
No. After the Big Bang, which resulted in rapid cosmic inflation, they wouldn't have been infinite anymore. Please understand what inflation means before starting this stuff. Also, we don't know that there was a singularity, and as I pointed out earlier, it's fallen out of favor in physics.
we would need a formidable and reliable method that allows us to observe the entire universe in reverse, effectively unfolding it step by step to reconstruct this colossal singularity and its unimaginable.
And why would we need that if we can see that most of the galaxies are expanding away from us and the further they are away from us, the faster they're moving? I'm guessing you have no idea who the Hubble telescope was named after, or why he got the telescope named after him. But then again, there are things I'd rather you learn first, like, I don't know, grade school level science.
Explosive force. The most troubling aspect is the origin of this singularity, which lacks any explanation. It simply exists without any identifiable cause, making it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in science where we just have to say, we don't know. And this is true for all sciences, even the things people don't consider science. For example, we don't know if the 3n plus 1 conjecture is true. We don't know if p equals np. There are some conjectures we just figured out were false.
A remarkably tenuous starting point for a theory deemed as scientific. The mystery surrounding the origin of this singularity remains entirely enshrouded in speculation and supposition. While academia.
Well, not enshrouded, it's just all that can be done about it now, because clearly we don't have a way of investigating what happened before the universe with the state of our current technology.
Often turns to quantum mechanics to address much of this mystery. Further exploration eventually leads to even more speculative theories and philosophical contemplation once the most.
No, Eric, the fact that you don't understand quantum mechanics just means you don't understand quantum mechanics. And to be fair, I don't understand it either. I'm just not accusing scientists of a conspiracy because I don't understand something that's counterintuitive. There are things about what I do that quantum physicists won't understand either.
Sophisticated scientific terms and theories are exhausted. The most tangible aspect of this theory, which scientists use in an attempt to construct theoretical models and perform backward extrapolations for the Big Bang theory, is the cosmic microwave background radiation previously.
The cosmic background radiation was something that should exist if something like the Big Bang happened. It's not extrapolating backwards, it's saying the Big Bang created this, and if the Big Bang happened, it should be there. What you are trying to do is basically say that's what Hubble did, because that's what Hubble did.
Mentioned. This raises crucial questions. Why is this background radiation necessarily considered a remnant of the Big Bang?
Because it was predicted by the model if the Big Bang occurred. This isn't that hard to follow.
Could it not also be attributed to countless other natural phenomena?
Yes, you could attribute something to anything. You could attribute the price of eggs to the fact that the cat sitting on my desk just nearly knocked my microphone over. Doesn't mean it's the correct way to interpret the price of eggs and why they're so high right now.
Potentially leading to entirely different conclusions unrelated to the Big Bang? It is noteworthy that a majority of.
Of course, you wouldn't be a flat earther without trying to say NASA is in on some big conspiracy. Eric, I do hope someday we send you to space.
The equipment allegedly used today to measure cosmic microwave background radiation was developed by NASA, placing them once again at the center of the cosmological narrative. While this alone may not lead—
Wait, you mean an agency that studies space made stuff to study stuff in space that can be best studied from space? That is a genius observation.
you to question your current level of trust in NASA. It is crucial to remember—
Well, my current level of trust in NASA has nothing to do with anything they might or might not have done, and everything to do with the current political climate.
the implications of their monopolistic role. A central role we will be reminded of—
NASA does not have a monopoly on space travel. Why do these people always forget things like the European Space Agency exists? China has been in space, Russia has been in space. We now have private companies that are sending tourists to space. I'm sorry, Eric, that space exists whether you like it or not.
repeatedly moving forward.
And, well, you will never get us anywhere because you are dragging us backward, Eric. And, well, at least he didn't try to go on about how unbiased ChatGPT was, but he doesn't seem to understand how easily it can be manipulated. In this case, I can say he actually did a better job than most people because he phrased his questions in such a way that they would be as unbiased as possible, keeping in mind that humans cannot completely remove bias when they operate. However, his conclusions are just not on solid ground because this is all an argument from incredulity fallacy. All right, well, I did intend to do this Friday night. I thought this video was longer. I'm glad it's short because, first off, I am not interested in covering any flat earthers or the flat earth stuff. Because, as I said earlier, I just don't believe they believe that the earth is flat. As far as this goes, stop using large language models as expert systems. Now, while expert systems do exist, they are limited, and large language models are not expert systems. Something like Eliza, the original AI chatbot, could be considered an expert system. But if you've ever used Eliza, it's a lot less sophisticated than ChatGPT. I think what we'll see in the near future is large language models trained on specific data for a specific task, or we'll see more relational models which actually include some form of learning, which will reduce the number of hallucinations that the large language models suffer. I do not think they eliminate them entirely, but at least the relational models have more self-correcting mechanisms inside of them. All right, well, this was a short one. Hopefully I'll be back Friday. Hopefully I will get some time to do the more educational stuff that I'd rather do on this channel. And I'd like to remind everyone that it's a good idea to go out and write some code.